Hello and welcome to the live recorded video tutorial for Ecdesign 4.15. We've divided the training up in several videos to make it very easy for you to learn and get started with your new Ecdesign 4.15 update. So let's get started. And we're currently seeing the splash menu in Ecdesign when we start up the software. And on the top, we have shortcuts to different options in the Ecdesign software, such as starting a new project, opening up saved projects, check for updates. We frequently launch updates, both software and 3D model updates. The 3D model updates we don't notify you on when you start Ecdesign because we do them so frequently. So I advise you to check every once or twice a month. Regarding software updates like this one, 4.15, you can click here and see the release notes on our website to learn more on what the update is all about. And the video tutorial you can quickly access from this button. And then finally, access to our support section. So you just click that button and it gets you right to our support section. Below, you have the most recent layouts that you've been working on. So these are my latest layouts, and I can access one of these just by clicking on them. And if you want, you can also further down below see sample layouts to help you get started with your project. So you simply click on one of these templates, it will load into Ecdesign, and you can build from using them as templates. You can of course adjust the size, add new walls, everything. It's just a helpful way to get you started. Okay, so I'm going to start with a new project. So I'm going to click on Start a New Project button. That will load the project menu. And here we have three very simple steps that we need to go through. First is to select the project name. And let's call this Test Layout 1. We have a default location where all the files are saved, your projects. And it's right here in your documents. But you can click the Browse button and select another location if you would like. The second step is selecting project type. And in Ecdesign, you can create a layout from scratch, just using the grid, and you create your walls and you go from there. And that's called empty project. The second option, which is very, very popular, is the one we call from drawing. And that means you can upload a PDF or a JPEG, a photo of a drawing, and use as a template. This option is the one most popular and that people use the most. But we're going to come back to this option a little bit later. First, we're going to start with the very basics. So we're going to keep empty project marked right here. Then the final step we call project settings. And here you decide if you want to do meter or feet. I'm going to do meter for my unit. Then I'm going to set the standards for this project. Like, what is the most common wall thickness, the most common ceiling height, and my most common materials for the room or for the rooms. Later on we can customize and have multiple wall thicknesses, different ceiling heights, sloping ceilings, different floor colors, and so on. We're just setting a standard here. So let's change the ceiling height to maybe 4.5 meters. Then I can decide if I want to use a baseboard or not as a standard, the wood section on the bottom of a wall, and I'm going to keep that. Then we have the three different material options. Floor type on the bottom, you just click and it will load a menu. And you can go in and select the different type of options that you want. For example, here you see wood floors, tiling, fitness flooring we're going to show in a different lesson. We have custom, which means I can upload my own images and place on the walls, the floors, the ceilings. And these are the latest ones I've been using, so that it will show the most recent ones. To load a different image, you just click on the folder right here, and it goes into your computer and you can pick your file. And you can use that. And we're going to have a look more on that a little bit later on. Of course, we have colors. You can use any color. So these are the most recent ones I've been using. but you can click on choose color, and using the Windows color scheme, just select the color that you want, click OK, and you will have it right there. And just click to select it. But we're going to do a wood floor to start with. Let's pick number 5 and the wood floor right there. And then to finally select it, click the use button. If we do ceiling types, it looks a little bit different, but the same material menu. You have a standard, which are our standard ceilings that we provide. You have different ones here with lights built into them. And if you wanted one of those, you just click and click use. But we also have custom, so you can upload your own ceiling texture if you want to do that, or use the colors that I showed you just recently. But we're going to select the standard ceiling, and let's pick this one and click use. Finally, we have the wallpaper options, the wall color. So we have a list here assorted with glass. You have brick if you want to use brick, wallpaper, custom again, so if you want to use your own textures or colors. I'm just going to use a white color for my walls this time as a standard, and click use. Now we're ready to start with our project. So we're going to click on create project. And we see the full 2D interface of Ecdesign, and I'm going to explain a little bit about that before we start doing any layout work. Up on your top you have the classic Windows options here, and you can browse through those if you're interested. Then below we have quick shortcut buttons, the 3D access button once we start our project, and you have a couple more options here, but we're going to go through those a little bit later. Then we have the tab system, which is kind of the heart of the 2D interface. Depending on what you're doing in Ecdesign, you need to be standing in one of these certain tabs. So rooms, you need to be standing in when you want to create a room, make changes to a room structure, such as changing wall colors, floor types, ceiling height, everything that's connected to room structure. Then we have the gaps where you have the windows, doors, and openings. And then we have the objects to add products and so on. So I think you get the point here. Depending on what you're doing in Ecdesign, you need to be standing in a certain tab. Okay, this is the 2D grid, and I'm using, and I highly recommend using a real mouse with a scroll wheel, because then you can do a lot of things, such as holding down the right mouse button and moving your mouse. Then you can pan the layout. So you hold down the right mouse button and moving the mouse at the same time. I can use the scroll wheel to zoom away or back in again. And wherever I place my mouse cursor, that is where it will zoom when you're scrolling back in again. So you can zoom out and back in again, or hold down the right mouse button to pan the layout. We're currently seeing the grid because I quite like that. But if you don't want to see the grid, you can go up and unmark show grid, and you just have a white paper to draw on. But we're going to bring that grid back again. Then on your right side here, we have 4 different fields. The top one will display product names later on. And this one will show distances of walls when we start building our walls. And then you have the X and Y for the mouse cursor. And then you have angle on a wall also will be displayed in that field. Okay, time to start creating our first wall and what will become our first room. I make sure I'm in the room tab, so it's blue. Blue is the activation color in Ecdesign. Then I click on the draw room button. That becomes blue. I move my mouse into my layout, and you see that X marker. That's the 00 point, the Origo point. And just by clicking left mouse one time, close to it, it will actually snap to that X point, to that 00 point. So I click one time, and then I can move wherever I want. Left mouse click again, and move. And that's how you create your first wall intersection. So you create your first wall by left mouse click to start creating, move your mouse, left click again, and move again to create the second wall. If you look up in your top right corner, we see the angle, 90 degrees. We see the X and Y for that second wall where we have our mouse cursor right now. And finally it says 3, and that is the current wall distance. Now I haven't pressed left mouse button again, so I can still move around here if I want. If you want, you can also type in a new distance. All you do is you align the wall, so let's align it straight like that, 3 meters. And then if you look in the top right corner there, I'm going to type on my keyboard without moving my mouse into that field. I'm just typing in a new distance here on my keyboard. So let's type in 9. And you see 9. Nothing happens. But when I press enter, it will create a new wall and I can move again. So you have the option of typing in a new distance if you want. It will automatically snap to the grid sections. So you'll see that, each 1 meter section here. If you don't want that, you can hold down the shift button and it will move freely. But once I let go of the shift button, it will snap again to the grid. I'm going to continue here. Left mouse click, move, left mouse click, move, and left mouse click. And here we see that red line. That's a supported line to tell you that you're parallel with another wall. So if we click again, you'll see 2 lines here because we have 2 walls. And we're finally going to close this up. Final click, and we see our first room made. And what you immediately see is that floor type that we selected. Let's go into 3D and see what we've done. Not a whole lot worked yet, but let's go in anyway. So we're going to click the 3D button, the big blue button right here, and that will load my 3D view right here. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about this. This is not still image, this is live 3D, so we can move around and see exactly what we've done. And when you start up Ecdesign the first time, this menu, this help guide, will tell you how you can move around and what you can do in 3D here. And there are 4 ways of navigating. And those 4 buttons to select from to go into different view angles are right here. Walk, fly, game mode, and orbit. And to move in Ecdesign, you need to hold down the right mouse button to look around, and then you use the keyboard combinations, and you see them right in the help guide there. To move, and you can move in any way that you want. I can select the different navigation options, so let's pick fly, and that will take me into a top view. And I can hold down, I can scroll back and forward using the mouse wheel to see the layout. Game mode is very similar to walk. Basically, same feature, but you don't have to hold down the right mouse button to look around. So it's more like a typical game setting. Press escape to exit the game mode. The final option is called orbit, and we select orbit, and I'm actually going to close that menu a little bit. Orbit brings me into side view, and I can hold down the right mouse button and I can rotate, see the layout from any angle. I can use the scroll wheel to zoom in or zoom out, and I can also use the keyboard if I want to do that. So you have many different options here to navigate. If you don't want to see the help guide, because once you're going to get the hang of this, you can click on show on startup and it will disappear and you can close. So every time you start up the 3D, it will not show, but you can bring up the menu again by clicking the question mark. We're going to come back to the 3D a little bit later, but for now we're going to click the X marker and close and come back to our 2D view. So now we have one room, very basic. If I want, I can add another room, and let's do it over here. And to do that, you need to click the draw room button again. That turns blue. and I can start drawing wherever I want, but I'm just going to click left mouse over here, click again, move, click, move. So now we have 2 rooms. The rooms have the standard settings that we provided in the beginning of the project. We selected 4.5 meter in ceiling height, we selected the floor color for the wood floor color, and the white walls. Now if I want to make changes, I can quickly do that. And I can click inside of a room, it becomes green. Each room that you close up will have its own information, its own identity. And when you click inside the room, it becomes green, and on the right side, it will display room properties. And here you have a lot of different options, such as changing the floor height. If you wanted a different level here, higher floor, you would type in a value right there. You can change the ceiling height, higher or lower. So if I want maybe 6 meters over here, I type in 6 meters. But we'll keep 4.5 currently for this project. Hide ceiling, just when you go into 3D, the ceiling will be hidden. Very simple. Hide floor, same thing, it would hide the floor. Then we have the square meter of this room, 81. If we click inside this room, we see 151. So that's very helpful. Then you have the option of hiding all the walls. When we click on that button, all the walls that are combined in this room will be hidden. We bring that back. Then I can change the ceiling material. So if I wanted a different ceiling, I would simply click on that and select a different ceiling. But we're going to keep the same one that we had before. Floor material. Let's click on floor material. We see the list of different floor options. And maybe I just want to add a different color into this room. So I'm going to click on color. And let's pick dark gray and click use. It still looks a little bit green colored because it's still activated. But if I click on the outside, we'll see that gray floor that we selected. If we click on this one, you have the option also to change quickly the wall colors on the inside of this room or the outside. And with that we mean all the walls on the inside right here would change material if we selected this button and picked a new color or texture. Outside would be all on the outside of the walls. So like in real life, you can have 2 different colors on each side. And actually let's do that. Let's do that in this room. So we'll click in this room and select wall inside material. And we'll pick a color. Let's pick the new green color that I picked, bright and shiny, and click use. If we go into 3D, you'll see that we did some changes here. I'll bring you into orbit view, which is this button right here, and zoom out a little bit. And you see the gray floor that we selected, and on the inside we have the green walls. Pretty simple. We'll close that, and we'll click on this room again to make this active, because here we have also something called floor rotation, floor scale, and pan floor. And that means since this room is marked, I can drag the bar right here and it will rotate the texture. So it's pretty helpful. If you want to change one of the textures that you have, you can adapt them here. And we have the floor scale, so I can make the texture larger or smaller, also to adjust it the way you want it. Pan floor means I can click on the pan floor button, go back into the layout, hold down the left mouse button and move. And I can actually pan the entire texture. Really good if you're doing like tiled texture or the fitness flooring that I'm going to show you later on. You can just pan it the way you want it. So it's really, really good. So that's how you make big changes for an entire room. Before I go on, I'll also mention, because it's important, if you make any wrong moves, you want to go back in your project, you have an undo button. So if we click undo, it will take us a step backwards as far as I want, or redo builds it back again. So you never have to worry about making any wrong movements. Another really good thing is if you want to make changes to one of the rooms that you created, you can of course do that. Let's say I want to adjust one of the walls, then I can hold down the left mouse button on top of one of the end sections of a wall, and I can move them or bring them back again. I can grab a hold by holding down the left mouse button and changing the entire length of a wall if I want to do that. Or undo to come back again. Perfect. Okay, that's how you make changes to entire rooms. Now, if I want to make changes to one individual wall, you can of course do that as well. Just make sure you're in the Room tab. Then we can click just by first of all, move over a wall, it becomes blue, and then click on it. Then you'll see that you have two different sides, A and B, which is very important, and I'm going to explain that in a second. But when I click on a wall, it will display a wall property menu on the right side. Instead of that room property menu, you now have a wall property menu. And here we have a lot of different options as well, but very simple ones to learn. The top one here, we're going to explain a little bit later on in a different lesson, because this is all about how to create sloping, tilted floors and ceilings. So it's really helpful, but we're going to come back to that. Then we have the current length of this wall, 9 meters, and the current thickness of this wall. So if I want a thicker wall here, I just change the value here to a different one. Let's select 4 decimeters, 0.4. And you see it immediately is a thicker wall. And then we have the option to show or hide the baseboard that would list on the bottom of your wall. So if you don't want that, you unmark it. If you want it, you mark, and you can also change the height of the baseboard. So, you know, for an older room, maybe you have a higher, bigger baseboard, then you type in a different value there. If you want, you can also hide a wall. We currently have this wall, but I can click on hide wall, and then we deactivate by clicking on the outside. You'll see that that wall is now hidden. And if we go into 3D, you'll see what happened. We have a big wide open area here with different floor colors, wall colors, because that wall is currently hidden. We'll close. I can click on it, and we can let's bring it back. So we'll unmark hide wall. Over here, I'll show you this as well. If we click on this wall, and then on the next option here, curve, we're going to click on curve, go back out, hold down the left mouse button, and drag up or down. So you hold down and move the mouse up or down to curve the wall. Of course, you can create several wall sections and curve each individual one. So if you wanted to create like an S-shaped wall section, then you can create maybe 3 wall sections and then curve each individual section. If you want to make that wall straight again, very simple, just click the Make Straight button right there. The Rescale Layout button we'll come back to a little bit later. And at the start, I mentioned we have the A and B on each individual wall. A and B. That means in this section that we can change the color of the wall or add a texture on each individual wall side. So let's say I want to change just this particular wall on the inside, A. So we're going to click on A side material. That brings up the menu. And let's try a brick texture this time. And click use. And we'll go into 3D and we'll bring you into the orbit view again, orbit, and we'll move using the mouse keys over here. And you see that brick texture. Since we're in 3D now, I'll also show you some really nice options here. We made all our color changes in the 2D interface, but you have the option to do them in 3D as well. And to activate the options to change floor colors, ceiling colors, wall colors in 3D, you use the buttons right here. Edit Room and Edit Walls. So if we click on Edit Walls to start with, it becomes blue, and then we move into the layout, and then when I move my mouse over walls, they will flash in green. Just to show you which wall you're currently placing your mouse on top of. And I'm going to select this one. And when I click on it, it's going to display a wall property menu. And here I can change that texture that I have. So for instance, if I uploaded an entire image onto that wall, I can scale it. Or you like this brick texture and I want to change the size of the bricks. So I can use the horizontal scale to stretch, the vertical to make them bigger, as big as I want. I can pan the entire texture horizontally or vertically. So if you're doing a poster, that's really good. If I had multiple brick walls here in this room, I could click on the copy to same material. So whenever I change in the scales here, it would alter all the walls at the same time, the same way. So that's copy to same material. And if you had an image on the wall, you could mirror the texture, basically flipping it from one side to the other. I'm going to show you how to do this. So we're going to select wall material. I'm going to change the brick wall to a different material. So let's select wall material and select custom. And let's go into my folder and pick an image. Let's pick this one. It's just an image of a castle. And it will say, should changes affect all walls with the same material? So if I had the brick wall on several walls and I now change to a new material and I said yes, it would change to that new texture on all the walls. But for now we only have one brick wall, so it doesn't matter which selection I pick. And when I do, you'll see that tiled texture there. If I use the scale here, I can adjust that texture so it will fit on that wall like this. And then we have the mirror texture. If I click on mirror texture, it will mirror that image. And whenever you're ready, you just click on the outside. Let's click on that again, select wall material. Let's bring in just a dark gray color. And we changed again. Okay. Now we have that gray floor here. If I wanted to make a change to the to different floor in 3D, then you activate Edit Room. And then, same way as the walls, you move your mouse over and you select the floor that you want. Select the new floor material or ceiling if you wanted to change the ceiling if we're inside the room. And let's pick a different color. Let's pick a brown color and click Use. And once again, it will ask if I had the same texture in multiple rooms of that floor, and I say yes, it would change on all of them, but I'm going to say no and click on the outside. So now we have a brown wall, a brown floor. And if we move over here into the other room, we'll click on this floor. I have the rotation and scale here as well. So if I wanted to rotate that floor, I could do that or change the scale. So it's really nice that you have the options to alter and edit the colors and textures of the entire room structure in 3D at this. Also saves you a lot of time. We'll click the X marker to bring us back into the 2D view. And we'll do the next step. And now we're going to add some doors, windows, and openings. So we're going to click on the second tab called Gaps. And here we'll see 4 different categories. And to go into a category, you simply click, for in this case, Windows. And it looks like we only have 6 different options here. But we can actually edit and alter the dimension and altitude of the gaps. So you can create any type of gap. And you can also change colors and textures to a gap. So if you want a brown door, you can select the brown door. And I'm going to show you all of this, how it works. First, we'll select the window that I want to use, this 5-panel glass. It becomes blue. And then I move into the room, and I'm going to double click on the wall where I want that window to be. Double click, and it comes out right there. And if I hold down my left mouse button, I can move that window along the wall. And you'll see the distance to the wall sections when I'm moving. And if you click again, you'll see a gap property menu on the right side. So here we can now adjust that window. And I want the width to be maybe 5 meters. Instantly changes to 5 meters. And I want the height of the windows to be maybe 3.8. And then we have the altitude. And it's currently at 2 decimeters above the floor. So it's just above my floor list, the baseboard. So if you wanted to raise up that window, you just select a different altitude. Then I'm going to place it along a wall. And it's going to move, when I move my window here by holding down the left mouse button, the closer I zoom in, the more exact 1 centimeter at a time it moves. So it's very easy to place it perhaps at 0.9, for example. Or bring it back even further, half a meter in. Then you'll see that we have a blue and a black arrow here. And also in my gap menu, a blue and a black arrow. And in the middle, a field called distance. And what this is, and we'll zoom out so you can easily see it, it will allow me to duplicate the window really quickly, to add multiple windows and with a certain distance. So, first of all, I want to duplicate another window, and I want to duplicate it this way, of course, and I want it to be 5 decimeters apart. So I'm going to type in 0.5, and because I'm going to copy to my right, it needs to be the black arrow. So I'm going to click on the black arrow here, and it will add another window, 5 decimeters apart. If I want my next window, I can do that again and duplicate, but I can also change. Maybe I want the next one to be, I want to change this one to 4, then I can do that, 4 decimeters, meters, or 6 meters, or back to 5. So you can quickly make changes. We'll add another window on this wall, and my selection is still active, so I can just double click over here again, zoom in, and move wherever I want to place that wall. Perfect. That window, of course. If I want to add a door, we'll take a step backwards in the gap menu and select doors. And let's pick this double door. Double click, and it comes into my layout. Now doors have the swing of the door itself, and to change the direction, just double click on it and it will change direction. Now it goes out. Now it opens inwards. You have the option of changing the dimensions there, and an altitude. Of course, a door we want at 0, so it's 0 altitude. And I mentioned that you can alter and change the colors. So with the doors, for example, here we have preset materials. So if I want a wood beech door, I'm going to select that. And if I have multiple doors, it will ask me, do I want to change all of them to the same material? And I can say yes or no. And this is a Swedish operating system I'm running, so it's ja and nej, which is yes and no. But it doesn't matter here, we just have one door, so we'll say no. We'll go into 3D so we can see what it looks like so far. Here we go, the door with my new texture. Over here we have the windows in place. I'll take you into orbit view so we can see it also. Right there. And now that we added our gaps, like the windows, you'll see sunlight coming in. You have the option of changing the direction of the sunlight by clicking sun setting, this button right here, and then we can drag on the scale for the direction here and change the direction or the strength of the sunlight. So if it's You want strong sunlight or very little. You can adjust that. It's pretty nice. We'll go click on the walk option. We're back into the room. We'll close the sun setting. Next to the sun setting, we have something called Sky Dome. And if I click on that, it will show you templates of sky drops, like backgrounds. So if we select one, it will give you a view of the outside. Later on, I'll show you also how you can add your own custom views, like photos on the outside. But these are nice because they quickly give you a view of the outside. Brings in more color to your layout. And you have white and black, which are really good if you're doing those orbit views. Or white. And to close the Sky Dome, you click on the Sky Dome icon. And it's back again. We'll close the 3D. And we'll take a step backwards here, and I'm gonna add an opening. And an opening is basically a hole in the wall. So we click on that, select the opening option, and let's double click on this wall right here. And we can move it, of course, by holding down the left mouse button, but we can also change the width. So let's make it 6 meters. Actually, let's make it 5. And then we'll change the height to 3 meters. And in 3D, if we go back again, you'll see we created a hole in that wall. Very simple, and very nice. Perfect. We'll close the 3D. And we're going to stop right here. And in the next lesson, we'll continue and show how you add objects and a lot more other things. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.